So here's a question for everybody in the chat, you as well, Chewy. We've been talking about Victoria Jacobs over the last few weeks protesting at a Julian Bachelor event. We've been talking about, we often talk, me and Chewy, about the protesters here in Dunedin at the Octagon over the Destiny Church situation. We've talked about the protesters who went to Albert Park for Posey Parker. I want to know what people think, because we're supportive of all of those things, of this story from the weekend.
This little chippy went to market. It did not go to plan.
Can I say, no matter where you sit on the political spectrum, no more Labour pains for people who are opposing Labour? It's a pretty good slogan. It's a pretty good chant. You got to give it to them. I mean, you'd have to agree with it, but it's a pretty good chant. It's up there with, what is it, fuck all Nazis? Is that the one you like? But when it comes to making a chant, if you want to speak out against Labour, props. We can look at that and go creative. Give them credit for what they're saying. I mean,
I hate it, but it's a good one.
Sure.
Project by the Freedoms Party, a taste perhaps of what's to come on the campaign as the fringe enters the fray.
It's democracy in action, my friend.
Police on hand, but not required to get hands-on.
The freedom of speech, though, they are allowed to.
Are you worried this campaign is going to be hijacked by the fringes?
I certainly hope not.
Increasingly, their issues are creeping into the conversation. This crowd screaming at Hipkins to define a woman. They're not the only ones. This week, Winston Peters proposing policy around separate public bathrooms, Act 2 now fluttering on the fringes in its own propaganda podcast.
This is really interesting because Seymour, I reckon, is trying to get back that ground from Winston. Because Winston came out saying these things, and I think Seymour and ACT are seeing Winston as a threat now. And so they've actually taken Winston's lead to go even harder in this area.
Will my daughter end up going to a pool where there's someone that I consider biologically male in the changing room?
Well, they're an issue for a lot of people who say, hang on a minute, I want to be able to reserve a space which is for what I regard as biological women. Now, I think people should be able to make those claims.
The main party leader's reticent to react.
I'm not intending to promote legislation to legislate who can and can't use the toilet.
By bathrooms, frankly, at a time when half of New Zealanders are worried about money on a daily basis.
But both calling out the ACT leader for his so-called joke.
I'll give him that one.
In my fantasy, we'd send a guy called Guy Fawkes.
We've done this. We did this last week pretty clearly with Sanjay. So let's just stop on there. First of all, we've got the protesting, and then we've got the response from ACT trying to pick up, I guess, cut New Zealand First lunch, and then the response from Luxon as well. Have at it.
First, just before I go off on my rant, can you play the part of that clip where Rimmer is about to run onto the field, please?
Okay, hang on. Run onto the field.
And just where you had it paused would be perfect.
So this
because if we're talking about fantasies, if we're talking about Rimmer having fantasies, here's my one for that clip.
Okay, let me just see if this. I just want to
see
because I'll put it in mute in case I got the wrong spot, but you can talk over it. And is this the right spot? Is this where it's going to be?
Just where he runs onto the field.
No, have I missed it there?
Yeah, I think it's earlier back.
It's not YouTube. Oh, it's going to be after that because that was the original story. Oh, there it is.
There we go.
There.
Just
Do I need to pause it or anything?
And just pause it there. Okay. This is my fantasy. He has a fantasy of Guy Fawkes walking into the Ministry of Pacific People. I want one of these kids to come out of stage right and just absolutely fucking flatten him. Like right into that table. The trophy goes everywhere. He just gets knocked ass over tit over Pacific Islands 14-year-old that's probably bigger than I am. That's what I want. That's my dream. And just before anybody jumps on me for encouraging acts of violence, that is a joke. Which, as we've established, as Seymour has established, is just carte blanche to say whatever fuckery you want to. Just joking, bro.
What about the protesting? People in the chat, part of democracy. I was thinking about this through the weekend, and I'm trying to be consistent as much as I can. I do wonder if there's a difference between a public discourse around an election, which people need to hear, and a private entity. Are there any differences? Not sure. I think Hipkins handled it really well. He just laughed and said it's part of democracy. Police didn't have to get involved, so therefore, even though it was loud, it was peaceful. Seems like sort of part of the democratic process. What's going to happen from here on in, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Look, that's Tamaki's renter mob, and as much as I hate them, I agree with Hipkins. I agree with the police in this case. Like, being loud is a tactic that I have encouraged against Julian Batchelor. I'm not going to make myself a hypocrite by saying that it's out of order. It is part of the campaign trail. It's something we haven't really seen too much before, like a renter mob harassment. But you know, if I was sitting on a party with 30% of the vote and someone's managed to bring 50 people that make up the entirety of Tamaki's potential voting base, yeah, I'd just move on. It's not worth your time.
But I wonder also if there's going to be any changes to how they're doing things. I wonder if, for example, you know, much like Julian Batchelor started to do, keeping everything secret and just turning up places. Like, the only reason they would have been there to meet him is because it would have been advertised where he was going to be. I mean, the Otara flea markets are amazing. I used to probably go to them once a month when I was living in Auckland. I love the Otara flea markets. I love that area. I used to go there every time I was in Auckland up to that neck of the woods because it was the place where I could get the clothes that fitted me into the Otara shopping centre. It's fantastic. But I love the Otara flea market. It's fun. It's just a great time. And you didn't need to advertise you were going to be there to get a crowd there. There's always lots of people there. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the communications. Will they be telling everyone where they are and have to face protesters everywhere? Will the protesters continue? Were there protesters? Because if it is Tamaki's renter crowd, they were in Auckland. They were in South Auckland. If they were in, I don't know, Timaru, would it be the same? Maybe not. Be an interesting thing to observe.
Yeah, and I think what you'll see is more security, more police, ready for potential trouble. But
the police said it was fine.
I don't think you can really combat it.
Yeah, just on your just so you know what's been coming in, because you know you've hit a nerve. There's maybe a fuck that guy merch drop.
Can we put his picture on a t-shirt and get away with it?
And then Carl also says Fold Seymour t-shirt. And then JK says, where's Lomo when you need him?
And like a young Lomo, like a high school Lomo, like Lomo 2.
With the little tuft of hair at the front, that one?
Yeah, just like a freight train. God, if my Photoshop skills extended to that would be a t-shirt. Just Seymour getting
do we want to shall I investigate that? Because look, I have to do something about t-shirts in the next couple of days, right? If we're going to do it, shall I investigate? Because we get them, are they printed? What other thing? It's not screen printed, it's the other one. I wonder if they can do a face. Would tell me in the chat, would a fuck that guy thing work for you guys? Would you be interested in at any stage whatsoever? Let me know. Oh yeah, Luke says Jerry Collins. Jerry Collins would be good as well, actually. Jerry Collins folding him in half. The late great Jerry Collins.
Just absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe we can wear them when he comes on.
That's part of your question. The other thing I want to say is, and I said it briefly, I give credit for Luxon for his answer to that when they brought it up. Great messaging from him. Let's stick to the thing that we want to talk about, cost of living. Absolutely, no debate there.
But that's not what he wants to stick to, because he does. No. He does cultural war stuff all the time. It's just that he doesn't want to get involved in this one. So he's sticking to the messaging for this one. Yeah. So he's sticking to the narrative. He doesn't want to answer it. Yeah.
He didn't stick to this.
But he said the right thing. But tomorrow he'll say something completely the opposite when he gets involved in culture war stuff. He just didn't want to get involved in this culture war stuff.
Yeah, he didn't have the pipeline to his focus group.
Don't say
pipeline. To his church leader. What he really thought.